Good morning. Today's topic is human rights. We all know that human rights are inherent to all human beings, nationality, place of residence, sex, national and ethnic origin, color, religion, language, or any other status. As we all know that human rights are very much important for each and every individual or groups. Universal human rights are often expressed and guaranteed by so many laws in the forms of treaties, customary international laws, general principles, and other sources of international laws. It should be implemented by the state itself, and if the individual as a person couldn't able to continue their human rights, it couldn't be guaranteed for them itself also. Human rights means three things. That is, one, stop violation. Without any discrimination, the human being should settle down in their society and should enjoy their basic human rights as right to life, right to liberty, right to freedom of express, right to live without any discrimination in this particular society. That is called human rights, and that is the first point, that stop violation. Second one, protect human rights from any denials of human rights of all citizens should be protected under the customary laws, the international laws, and the constitution of particular nation. Like for ours, for Indian, the Constitution of India should be covered with this human rights. Promote human rights. That is the third and most important thing in human rights studies for whole mankind. Those who are not being aware of what is human rights, and they should make aware about the human rights and their basic needs. That is called the promotion of human rights. What is the salient features of human rights? Human rights should be universal, inalienable, interdependent, and indivisible, equal and non-discriminatory, both rights and obligations also. Universal and inalienable. As per our so many international laws, Universal Declaration on Human Rights, that is to be ratified on 1948, has been written in numerous international human rights conventions, declarations, and resolutions. In 1993, with the Vienna World Conference on Human Rights, for example, noted that it is the duty of states to promote and protect all human rights and fundamental freedoms regardless to their political, economic, and cultural system. Human rights, of course, inalienable. They should not be taken away except in specific situation and according to due processes. For example, the right to liberty may be restricted if a person is found guilty of a crime by the court of law. If the person would be restricted within the sphere of law, that means the person has done some basic social strata. Human rights and its importance. It is to be said that without the basic human rights, society cannot survive. And when the society cannot survive, the citizen cannot survive in this particular society as of. Interdependent and the main criteria of human rights and its salient feature. All human rights are interdependent and of course indivisible. one human rights cannot be separated from the other. For example, the right to life, equality before law, freedom of express. They all are interrelated. You cannot live your life without equality, without your dignity. And if your freedom of express, you cannot live in a particular society. So all civil and political rights are interdependent and indivisible. Now the second one, economic and social and cultural rights. Without earning, how can you survive in this particular society? You need some money to survive in this particular society. So right to work is very much important, and right to work with right to life, equality before law. A person with so much amount of money, beggar in a street, they can be treated together and under one particular citizen of India. The Constitution of India and the Indian Penal Code, that IPC, should be equal for both of them. And of course, social security. That should be also very, very important nowadays, because what we can see in the society, that the poor no, and even somehow the states are create so-called discrimination between the poor and the rich. Education is important. Economic, social and cultural rights for a human being. Right to education is now being very, very important for each and every citizen. The Right to Education Act for India 2009 has been incorporated from April 1st. Right to Free and Compulsory Education Act is coming forward. But still, what is the actual situation in India? Actually, the students are not going to school regularly and they dropped out frequently, particularly in the regions. Why the tribals are being violated from their basic human rights? I don't know, because the promotion of human rights are being somehow lacking in that particular region. So that is the main point of human rights awareness building and the networking and the campaigning in particular needy area of human rights awareness program. Third, the most importantly, the third generation of human rights is called right to development. That is the collective rights and self-determination. Right to development, according to our great Nobel laureate Amartya Sen, very nicely elaborated in his so many scholarly aptitude books and articles worldwide, that without self-development and self-determination, one cannot claim his or her particular human rights from the state itself. Equal and non-discriminatory purpose, that is a cross-cutting principle in the international human rights law. So many international conventions are there, so many regulations are there, and that is the International Conventions on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination. But somehow it is been seen that racial discrimination is found in every country, in every forms. Next, the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms to Women, that has been ratified in 1981. Until now, the women are being most vulnerable in our society. What we can see that women can't even claim her basic human rights to live in her family also. And women are very acute problem in the sphere of human rights studies, in gender studies and women studies also. So they are interrelated for the human rights, women studies and gender studies as a part of social science studies. The principle applies to everyone in relation to human rights and freedom. It prohibits discrimination on the basis of a list of non-executive categories such as sex, race, color, and so on. The principle of non-discrimination completed by the principle of equality, as stated in Article 1 of Human Rights Declaration. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights, but somehow it has been violated. What are the main causes of this discrimination? The main violator for this non-equality and discrimination. Both rights and obligations. Human rights entitle both rights and assume obligations and duties under international law to respect, to protect, and to fulfill human rights for all human beings. The obligation to respect means that state must refrain from interfering with or curtailing the enjoyment of human rights. The obligation to protect requires states to protect individuals or groups against human rights abuse and denials. The obligation to fulfill means that states must take positive action, facilitate an enjoyment of basic human rights at the individual level. While we are entitled our human rights, we should also respect the human rights of others. Then only the human rights and the human duties are coming forward. Human rights and duties. Human rights means the fundamental rights of every citizen, without any discrimination of race, place of birth, religion, caste, creed, or sex. But somehow, it can be restricted by the court of law in certain circumstances. When a person is carrying a rifle or a pistol without license and he kills a person without any reason, then only the court can arrest that particular person and produce him or her under the court for the judgment. Fundamental duties. What is duties? Duties is to perform your work towards society. The moral obligations to society, all citizens to help promote a spirit of patriotism and to uphold the unity of a nation. That is called the duties. Rights and duties are the same two faces of the same thing. That we can see that two sides of a coin. Without rights, duties are violated. And even without performing certain duties to the society, you cannot claim your rights itself. Self-development and self-determination. That is a main criteria of rights. When you are claiming your self-development, self-determination from the society, you need to perform the duties to the society. What are the duties? Duties. Live your life and live the other life also. Live peacefully and create a peaceful environment to develop others. It's the main criteria of human rights, and human duties are very. If one cannot perform his or her duties to society, he or she can't claim the rights from the society.